What's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to be taking you through a review of Reebok's new weightlifting shoe, the Legacy 2 collab with WIT Fitness. Okay, WIT Fitness, they've done some amazing collaborations over the last few years with Nike, with Adidas, and of course Reebok. This is the second weightlifting shoe that they have had done with Reebok. The first one was on the first ever Nike Legacy lifter, and they did a weave version of it, which I thought was a big level up from the original Legacy lifter that they did. This is a little bit different. Now, I haven't lifted in the Reebok Legacy 2. I personally have recently swapped back to using the Nike. I switched between the Nike Remelio 2 and the new Savalio's lifter, which we're going to come on to a little bit later in this review. But first of all, what I want to do is just give you a little look at this shoe, dive inside the box and see what you're going to see when you open up. Unboxing this shoe comes in its standard Reebok box, no different from what you'd normally get in any of the other lifters. However, as we get the shoe out, it's quite clear that this is not a normal Legacy 2 lifter. This is probably one of the bougiest finishes I've ever seen on a lifting shoe. First impressions on it, the color, black and rose gold, nice colorway that they've chosen. They've gone for a gum bottom on the bottom of the shoe. If you take a closer look at this shoe, there's two different types of finishes that they've used on it. They've got a matte finish, which is almost like a suede, and then the shiny sort of pleather finish on the front of the toe box. We have done some nice detailing on this, which makes it different from the original Legacy 2 lifter. They've got rose gold metal eyelets, which is lovely, that feature WIT on them as well. And then they've also put this rose gold stitching that kind of runs around the whole way around the shoe, and then with the detailing rose gold Reebok on the back, and then the WIT logo here. You'll also notice that on the shoe here they've got a rose gold tab that is for when the strap comes over. So yeah, all in all, aesthetically, I think look wise for this shoe, they've done a really good job. And you know, to me, I don't think this makes a massive difference from shoe to shoe. From a performance point of view, it's not going to necessarily be the difference between you snatching 100 and snatching 150. So for me, the aesthetics is important. I do care about looking sick in the gym, and these will definitely serve that purpose. Now, what I want to get into from a performance point of view, the things that you guys are probably interested in when you come to this review, is things such as weight, the fit, the sizing, and then comparing them to other shoes. So we're gonna run through this. First thing I noticed when I picked this fucking shoe up is it is heavy. It is a really heavy shoe. This is, when I compare it to a Nike Remelio 2, which are notoriously a heavy lifter, they're probably about the same, probably a little bit heavier, I'd say, than a Nike Remelio 2, which says something about the weight. Does the weight matter in a weightlifting shoe? Not really, but some people feel as though they feel a little bit heavy on their feet when they're lifting in a heavier shoe. Some people say they feel more stable. So it is a personal preference thing again. But this shoe is noticeably heavy. I'm not sure the exact weight on it, but it's a heavy weightlifting shoe. What you also notice with this shoe in terms of how it fits, I would say in the toe box, and Reebok are known for this, it's a slightly wider fitting shoe at the front. If I compare it to something, for example, like the Savalio, it is slightly wider than the Savalio in the toe box, but then through the mid of the shoe is about the same. In terms of how this shoe fits to put on, and I'm going to talk about it from a subjective point of view first of all, and then how it personally felt when I was lifting in it. I would say it's an extremely snug fitting shoe. One thing that Reebok and WIT have done really well with this shoe is put in a lot of padding around the back of the heel. Now, that's really important, I find, for providing the ankle with the support that it needs, and your ankle will fit firmly in the back of this shoe. And it's something that I loved about what they did when they did this collaboration. Oh, the sand in the shoe. When they did this collaboration on Reebok 10 Nano, I love that they put in the nice high backing and support in the back. The other thing that you'll notice with this shoe in particular, which I'm going to show you when you unstrap it, and these guys have gone for one strap. Now, again, that's something that's quite normal nowadays with weightlifting shoes. A lot of the brands have gone back to one strap. I don't think that that's a problem. I don't think it's a real necessity to have the second strap down the lower part of the shoe unless you have particularly narrow feet. Then you'd probably want to, in these wider shoes, get something that's a little bit more snug fitting on the top. But what Reebok did with this shoe, and what WIT have done, which is pretty cool, is inside the shoe they've put an internal fitting that kind of acts like a glove on the shoe, and that's probably something that's contributing a lot more to the weight of this shoe than needs to be there. Does it make a massive amount of difference? No, but it's quite nice that they've thought of that to provide a little bit more snugger fit around the foot when you're lifting in it. Okay, so that's quite a cool addition what they've done with this. One thing that I want to show you as well while I'm in here is the inner sole. Okay, so what Reebok and WIT have done with this shoe is they've put a really high arch inner sole. Now that's fine if you've got high arch feet, but that could become a little bit uncomfortable if you've got extremely flat feet. I certainly noticed it when I put my foot into this shoe and started lifting in it, that my foot was hitting against this. It wasn't so much it was discomfort, but I noticed it. Again, personal preference. If you do have extremely flat feet, be aware. The tongue that they've put on this shoe is an extremely padded tongue, okay? Really good for the comfort around the front of the foot, especially when you're going to end of ranges, i.e. in a squat or in a snatch. It's nice to have some comfort there. So they've done really well with that, and you would expect it, okay? This is one of their most premium shoes that they've ever done. When it comes to the bottom of this shoe, and this is something that, you know, for me, I've not seen this type of bottom done on the bottom of a shoe before. It was slippy, okay? I noticed that when I was lifting in this shoe, it didn't have the same grip and support as what I felt with previous other shoes. So that's something that for me, from a design point of view, probably should have been addressed. I tried it with multiple different platforms, surfaces. It still felt a little bit slippy. One of the other things with this shoe, in terms of bend in the toe box, okay, there's hardly any movement there. Bend in the toe box is important when you're doing a jerk, for example, when you're planting the foot. In order to be able to get your foot into a good position, you need some range of movement in this end of the toe box. However, obviously you don't want a great deal of movement down this part, because this is obviously where you're going to stay nice and stable when you're snatching. However, not quite enough movement in the toe box there for me. If I'm comparing it, okay, you'll see a hell of a lot more movement in the Chevalier than I'm getting in the Reebok Legacy 2 lifter. Again, if that's something that's important to you, bear in mind these are a lot more rigid than what you'd find in another lifting shoe. But if I compare it to Nano 2, which seems to be what every brand tried to do again, because all of weightlifters tend to go for these, their favorite, it's about the same. So if you like the Remelio 2, this is very similar to the kind of feel that you're going to get in the toe box. One thing that I would have thought would have been a good addition to this shoe, and this is one of those things that I feel that when people make these shoes, when companies make these shoes like Reebok, Nike, I've never seen someone put any real testing through these shoes, you know, because I'm sure as a weightlifter that would have been something that I would have fed back to Reebok and to WIT and gone, you know what, first of all, sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. One of the things that I would have fed back to these guys when they did the shoe, first of all, I like width in the front toe box here. Like what you can see the Chevalier have done, like what you can see Nike do here. They do a little wing on the front here. I like that because it provides support in the front of the foot. So if you're one of those people that sometimes the foot rolls in, out, when you've got those wings on it, it makes it a lot more supportive in the front of the shoe. If I line that up to the Chevalier, you can see it's considerably narrow and not as wide in the front of the shoe as what we're getting with the Nike. Like I said, it's just something that I wish shoe companies did more, is actually let elite people test and try this shoe out and provide them with feedback and act on it. You know, they're gonna get a much better result all in all. With the back end of this shoe, you'll also notice, while we're there, it has this loop, okay? So this loop is meant to be there to provide the ankle with more support. Again, it's kind of really loose. It doesn't do a great deal. Essentially is adding extra weight that doesn't need to be there. For a styling point of view, yeah, it looks quite cool, but is it important? No, not really. Now with the back heel, they've done the winged back on this shoe, so you do get quite a lot of support in terms of movement back and forth on the back of the shoe. It's noticeably wider than what you get with the Nike Remelio 2, so that is a good addition to this shoe. It actually sticks out a little bit further than the back of shoe as well, which I found is important, and something that you'll see happening a lot in newer weightlifting shoes now is that extended back end, because if your weight goes back into the heels, with that back end being a little bit wider, it does provide it for a lot of good support there. So I think that that's a great addition with what they've done in this shoe. Moving on to heel height of this shoe, okay? They have got an extremely high heel, which is great. High heel is important for an Olympic weightlifting shoe. If you struggle with ankle mobility, raising the heel up will make it easier for you to get into a deep position whilst maintaining a neutral position with the spine. If I now compare that to the Savalio, you can see it's noticeably higher on the WIT Reebok lifter than it is on the Savalio. So again, if you like that high lifting shoe, this is going to be a great option for you. Again, you can see it sits noticeably at least a finger or 2 fingers higher on this Reebok. So again, that can be something that's really important to you as a weightlifter, in which case this is going to be a good shoe for you. Overall performance of the shoe, things that I didn't like, things that I thought were good. The stability of this shoe was really good when I was landing in my foot movements on my snatch or in my clean. However, like I said, one of the things that really let this shoe down for me was the toe box. No breathability or no holes for breathing in the front of the toe box. My feet get extremely sweaty when I lift. I would have liked to have seen that on this shoe. It would have been very simple for them to pop some holes in there. Second thing that for me with this shoe, I would have liked to have seen, the width between the back of the heel and the front was too big. So my foot did actually, although they provided all this support around the shoe, didn't feel like the ankle got hugged. You know, if I compare this to the shoe done up of the Savalio, you can see it's at least a centimeter or 2 longer this way. Easy solution that they could have done with this shoe that would have negated that problem. Just like what they did with the CrossFit X lifter that they did, they put a really high eyelet on this shoe. This shoe's got plenty of space for it. It would have been easy for them to do, but I just would have put that last eyelet of the shoe up higher so that I could have tightened it higher around here. If you don't have cankles, you'll want a tight fit around that top part. So that's something that I would have done as well to improve this shoe. So let's move on and have a look at what this comes up as price-wise. £160. To put that into perspective, the ROM 4 lifter, which is again a favorite from a lot of people, I don't have one here with me, that comes in at 170. So it's just slightly cheaper than the Nike Romelio 4. So again, if that matters to you, you're gonna get a similar sort of shoe in performance-wise, $10 cheaper. But just to put this in perspective, my favorite lifting shoe that I lift the most in at the moment, the Savalio, is £100, okay? It's almost half the price, but you are getting almost half the quality in terms of build, but performance very high with this shoe, okay? So if you're looking for that shoe that's on a budget and you don't mind having to potentially replace them every year, this is a good shoe for that. This is a shoe that you're gonna buy and have for a very long time, okay? It's not only that with this shoe, it's the exclusivity, okay? This is a collab with an amazing brand, WIT. They're probably only gonna ever have done a limited number of these. If that's something that's important to you, and it certainly is with me with a lot of my lifting shoes and even shoes that I wear day to day, that exclusivity is important. It's worth paying the extra to have that with this shoe. All in all though, I think once you take into the price into account, the performance side of things, I'd give this shoe a 7 out of 10, okay? A lot of that, or the things that are letting it down, like I said, that mentioned for me, was the fit around here, breathability, movement in the toe box, and the weight of this shoe being a little bit too heavy. Other than that, from a styling point of view, the exclusivity, this shoe kind of nails it on that point. If you want to get your hands on one of these lifting shoes, okay, you can head to the WIT Fitness website. It's the only place that is selling this exclusive shoe, so you have to go. I'll put the link in the description of this if you want to go check it out. In addition to that, I'm also giving this particular pair of shoes away. So if you want to win these particular ones that I tested and trialed out for you guys, then all you need to do is like and comment in the bottom of this video. Okay, if you share it, you'll get extra entries, and in a month from today, I'll be picking a winner on my YouTube channel as to who is going to be getting these shoes. Hats off to WIT. Amazing job. Like I said, you've been a brand that's been around maybe for 5 or 6 years that I've known you guys. You've done amazing things in the world of CrossFit and weightlifting, and I loved your attempt at putting together a pretty special weightlifting shoe. Said next time, let me give you a little bit of help. We'll get those finer details nailed down and we'll be kicking. Take care guys, I'll see you again in another shoe review video soon. Don't forget, like, share and subscribe. See ya.